So today we are here with Victor. She is the proud owner of a vintage bike shop, and he basically is in love with the bikes and bike riding and cycling. So we are here to get to know him a little bit better. With no further ado, let's ask him the first question that for me it's a bit obvious. So Victor, why did you start riding and why did you fall in love with the cycling?
Well, basically it's already been quite some time that I've been on two wheels. I have to say it all started with BMX.
At what age?
14.
Yes.
I'm now 46, so it's been quite a while. Well, but basically, if I have to talk about what I've been doing lately, which is actually more cycling than riding my BMX, it started when I was in Amsterdam.
How long did you stay there in Amsterdam?
Well, I lived there from '98 till 2012, so
yes.
Around 14 years. And
you went there studying, working?
No, actually I had a very good Dutch friend, Dutch Portuguese, and I met him in Lisbon. He was skating, I was also skating. Then he went to Amsterdam, I went to visit him, and I fell in love with Amsterdam. Mm-hmm. And a few years after I was living there. And the whole thing with cycling was, over there I basically cycled everywhere. I didn't really use a racing bike, I used like a normal Dutch bike. But I grew the taste of riding. Because if you ride BMX is one thing, you know, BMX is a very specific kind of
it's for stunts and
yeah, it's for stunts. I mean, you can ride your BMX to go shopping or whatever, but it's really
not the same, yeah.
It's not the same. So
it's not suitable. Yeah.
No, not really. You can have fun with it. It's not what you want. But the thing is, after a few years, I started working with bikes. So I had a bike shop there, and it was more or less at the time when
you owned the bike shop.
Yeah, I owned the bike shop in Amsterdam. And basically it was at the time when the whole fixed gear scene sort of exploded. Mm-hmm. And well, I was in Amsterdam. Probably now Copenhagen is known to be the biggest cycling capital of Europe, but
Amsterdam it still has its power.
Yeah, for sure.
In what regard? Can you explain to the guys that don't know what a fixed gear? Because I didn't know a couple of years ago. I wasn't aware of the fixed gear and all that culture. Can you explain? For the guys that don't know.
Okay, well, basically a fixed gear bike is a bike with just one gear,
yes.
Where the rear cog is attached to the hub. So basically, if you're pedaling, if the back wheel is moving, you have to be pedaling. It's a track bike, basically. Yeah. Basically, it's called fixed gear. The difference between a track bike and a fixed gear is more like a fixed gear has probably a little bit different geometry, while a track bike is really like
it's a bit more civilized.
A little bit more civilized. Yeah. You can use that word. Yeah. But well, basically, it was the whole thing with the fixed gear was kind of knocking on my door. I didn't start riding a fixed gear straight away. I rode a single speed with coaster brake, which is very common in the Netherlands. Mm-hmm. And then I grew the taste of cycling. You know, I started riding to work on that bike, and then I don't know. I did a little bit more kilometers than just going straight to work.
Yes.
And but the whole thing about cycling it basically started when I came back to Portugal. I decided to move back already a few years. And here, I mean, I didn't really work that close to my workplace, so I definitely use the bike to go to work.
You are a commuter. You do commuting with your bike.
Yeah, I commute, but for me it's the best of two worlds. I commute and I exercise and I cycle. Yeah. So for me, it's yeah.
You are in shape. You guys don't know that, but before this interview, we were rolling, and Victor is a heavy rider. He knows the business, and he's in really good shape because this daily commuting that he does, it really keeps you in shape.
Yeah, for sure. I have to say that's one of the reasons why I like to do it. You know, physically I feel good myself, and the thing with riding. Yeah, I was always like a healthy guy, so it's not like I was like completely, I don't know, unhealthy before, and now I'm really healthy. No, I've been healthy all my life, basically. Yeah. But the thing with riding now sort of keeps it up. You know, it's I never really gained a lot of weight. I was always more or less the same as I am now. And for me, riding has the healthy side of it, and because I also believe that if you use your bike for transportation, it's also better for. This can sound cliche, but I think it's the truth for environment, for the planet, for everybody.
Yeah.
So for me, it's the best of the two things, you know.
And I think it's better keeps you in a good mood when you ride.
This is probably going to be, I think, the first time that I'm going to say it, but I will say it anyway. Well, I also have a car and I drive, but lately, dim só minuto, estou aqui numa entrevista. But lately, I mean, I've been stressing out about when I drive. You know, it's okay. You do go a little bit. You do go a little bit faster than your bike, but man, there's too many cars. You know, you don't really flow.
You have to stop.
Yeah,
it's not fluid.
It's not fluid. The bike is just like this. It's really nice, and the whole thing with the bike. I mean, we could have an interview just about how nice it is to ride a bike, but I think you probably want me to talk about something more than just that. But well, to keep a big story short, basically I ride mostly because of these two reasons. You know, I like to stay in shape, and I really believe that using the bike is just better for you, for everybody. Like I see it as a bigger picture. So
do you think that what you've seen in the last couple of years here in Lisbon and across the country in Portugal, do you think that you can see every day that there are an increasing number of people riding the bikes. What do you think about this booming now? It's good for you, of course, and it's good.
Well, I mean, I have to be honest. I mean, even I'm happy that more people are riding, and eventually it will bring more business to my shop. But I have other interests in life, and if all of a sudden nobody started riding bikes,
no problem.
No problem. I would be doing.
Just keep riding.
I would just ride myself. And yes. If I wouldn't be involved in the bike shop, like I said, I would be doing something else that I would also love. But I mean, I think it's a good thing, definitely. There's more people riding for these two reasons that I told you. Some for almost exclusively economic reasons. You know, they really think, fuck, I'm not going to spend money on my car or on gas.
Yes.
To go by bike is just cheaper. And then they discover also the benefits of cycling.
Pleasure of riding.
Yeah, it can be a little bit dangerous if your commute is really like inside the city. I don't know.
But it's manageable, and I think Lisbon it's a bit better in that particular.
Lisbon is definitely better. If you compare it to maybe 5-10 years ago, I wouldn't say there's a very, very big difference, but it's definitely a difference. There's more cycle paths. People who drive are way more aware of cyclists, and I think things are going in a good direction. It just goes slowly, but they're going in a good direction.
So all these years riding your bike, can you tell us a strong episode, a funny episode, a dangerous episode, that something that you retained on your mind while you were riding?
Well, it's a nice question, but I have to say I am quite of a careful rider. Riding a fixed gear, I still ride fixed gear, by the way.
It's very complicated. Let me say, I'm sorry to interrupt, but it's very complicated. I tried. I was not able to use it, but maybe one of these days I will.
You can try my bike.
No, I will try when you come with me to Serra da Estrela to climb.
Maybe.
So we maybe exchange the challenges.
Yeah, the fixed gear bike is actually good to climb. Maybe not so good to come down, but
no, but I go with fixed gear and then you come to Serra da Estrela.
All right.
So we make a bit of exchange of
bikes.
scenery, yeah.
No, but the thing with riding fixed, actually, in my case, it makes you really aware of what you're doing. So even though I would love to tell you about weird or dangerous accidents, but I have to say...
No, it's not an accident. Something funny that you remember of some episode with some friend or with some person that starting, I don't know, maybe something that you've seen all these years on the top of your saddle for sure.
No, there's been. Well,
or even on your shop, some weird customer that entered the year with some weird request for something. I don't know.
In that case, there's definitely something. Yeah,
let's go through that way.
I've got a client of mine. Man, but this client could take the whole interview just speaking about it.
So just go ahead. If it's interesting, so we are here to hear you. Okay.
It is interesting, but I mean, he's a guy that I think he's riding bikes mostly because of economic reasons. So he doesn't have so much cash, and man, he's already coming here for, I don't know, maybe 2 or 3 years. Man, he comes with always, I wouldn't say the worst bikes possible, but stuff like that. You know, like these bikes with full suspension, but maybe you don't even know what I'm talking about. You know, like this kind of continent kind of bikes.
Yeah.
He knows what I'm saying.
These
bikes are like super heavy. They everything about them is like bad. But I guess for people who can't afford more, he's been riding stuff like that for some time, and he passes by the shop with all kinds of problems on the bike. You know, either the brakes are not good, or the wheels have play, or and he's a little bit of a character. He was a street musician, and well, it's just between us. I don't know, maybe too much drugs in his use. He's a little bit fucked. He's a nice guy, but you can see
complicated.
a little bit complicated client. But the thing about him, when he comes to the shop, we always end up chatting a little bit more than sometimes I would like, because I'm busy with something and he really talks. But the whole thing is, every time he comes, there's funny things, because he also, the way he talks, and he has me and some of my friends here, we have a nickname for him, which is called Máquina. I don't know, machine.
Yes,
because he calls himself that sometimes. He calls himself, I'm a máquina, like, because he rides a lot, and he goes to Cascais and back, and he considers himself like something like on top of his game. But maybe he's on top of his game, his personal game. He's not on top of anybody else's game. He's just a funny guy, and he does all this on a very quirky bike. And recently, even one of the first times I saw him, man, one of these days I'm going to get you a good bike. And actually, one of the last times he came with a bike for me to repair, and I said, look, leave the bike, I'm going to fix it up, you can come and get it in a few days. And I totally built him a new bike, and when he saw it, he was all ecstatic about it. I even took a picture and put it on Facebook. But well, basically the whole scene about dealing with that customer is just funny. And well, to end this story, basically I built him a bike that I think is going to be quite good, and hopefully I don't have to see him that often.
Now I'm curious, did you take a picture
of that bike?
Yes.
Yeah, I've got a picture somewhere. It's
maybe we can share on Facebook with
eventually.
Yes,
you'll see. But compared to what he had, it's a really nice bike. It's just like a steel frame, you know, like it's still a mountain bike, 26, but with no suspension, both on the fork and the bike. And I mean, I built it quite simple, just one brake, single speed, because he was also saying, man, I need a bike just with one brake and one gear. I don't want to have any problems on the bike. I know exactly what I'm going to do. So well, the whole thing about this guy, I have to say, is funny enough. Maybe now in this interview it doesn't really sound like that, but if eventually would see this guy, you know what I mean.
So let's shift gears to another subject that it's very important for the riders, especially the road biking guys like me. It's the food, the nutrition. So you don't know this, but Victor is a vegetarian. He always eats vegetables. So I want to know do you think that, how can you manage that and ride so
well,
so often like you do?
That's a good question. I'm not sure if I'm the right guy to answer a question like this.
You have the experience, so
yeah, but
you ride, you eat only vegetables. Do you think that it improves or it diminishes in some way your ability to ride a bike? Because probably there are guys that
well, in comparison to my bike buddies, because none of them is
vegetarian.
Basically,
you are pretty good. You are in shape.
I feel
we just finished riding, and Victor is riding perfectly.
Okay, but basically, in your case, I mean, you're not vegetarian, right?
No, I like vegetables. I eat a lot, but I'm not exclusively.
Well, just to make also a little point here.
Make your point, yes.
Well, the thing is, a guy who's vegetarian. I mean, of course, there's this idea that people are vegetarian, they eat mostly vegetables, but basically I eat everything with the exception of meat, fish, and well, I'm not 100% vegan, so I do eat eggs and sometimes a little bit of cheese, but
since when? When did you start eating?
I'm already vegetarian since I think 94 or 95.
Yeah. So, but why? Why did you take that decision?
I have to say, in my case, it was exclusively because of the respect for the animals.
Yes.
So I didn't do it for else reasons.
But do you think that it improved your health? Did you feel the difference at that time between 1993 and 1994, 1995?
I have to say no. I didn't.
Okay.
I didn't feel any difference. You know. The thing with me becoming vegetarian, it was like I said. I mean, well, this is just a subject by itself. But I decided to become vegetarian because I don't really agree with the whole meat and fish industry. I think it's very cruel for the animals, and that's the main reason. Sorry, why I decided to do it. I mean, scientifically, there's already proof that the people who are vegetarian are healthier than meat eaters, but I mean, then again, there's probably studies to prove otherwise. So in that sense,
there are studies for
everything,
for every taste.
I'm not going to say that we vegetarians are whatever. So in my case, all I have to say is I feel good with this decision, and I honestly don't miss the eating of the meat or the fish for having some sort of physical advantage.
Yeah.
Honestly, I don't.
You don't.
I don't know. It would be a little bit funny to try. You know, maybe I don't think I'm gonna do it, but it would be funny to have like a proper meal with I don't know.
A bitok. You don't know, but a bitok is a very common dish in Lisbon and in Portugal.
Yeah.
It's a steak with French fries and a fried egg on the top. So it's not
I mean,
something that Victor would do normally.
No, I ate. I don't know, maybe not thousands, but I ate a lot of bitoks before, and I have to say I liked it. You know, I didn't become vegetarian because I didn't like the meat.
Yeah.
It was for
no,
reasons.
I understand that.
So it would be something that in a way, I would be willing to try just for scientific.
Just for the fun of it.
But honestly, I don't think it would make a difference. All the energy or proteins or whatever I would get from meat, I can get from everything else. So all you have to do is have a balanced diet, and I think you'll be fine.
Do you cook?
Yeah, I cook. I don't cook as often as I would like to.
Where did you learn? Did you learn on your own?
On my own.
Did you? Okay.
Yeah, I mean, for me, cooking. Since I started living for myself, you know, I had to do it.
Yes, of course.
And I like cooking.
It's easier to cook vegetable dishes.
Man, it's super easy. It's super easy. Imagine, this can sound also a little bit stupid, but imagine you can do everything. You just don't put the meat in the fish. You know.
Yes.
Just to make an example, I'm not so original in cooking as I used to be. I mean, I used to go and get recipe books and make like. Yeah. Now I don't really do that.
With the rush of the day, so it's not,
yeah,
not always easy to.
That's true, but there's one thing I do a lot, and I change a little bit the ingredients, but I say it. If we're talking about food, I'll tell you what I eat. I make, I don't know, either couscous or potatoes or all wheat. I think it's all integral. I think it's all wheat rice or pasta. I make that separately, and then I like to cook with the wok. I don't know if you know what the wok is.
Yes, I know the wok. Yes.
Yeah, basically,
it's one of my favorite. Yes,
yeah,
I use it a lot.
And basically, I stir fry all kinds of vegetables. You know, because I think this way of cooking is relatively healthy, you know.
No, and it's easy.
It's easy. You fry
I love to cook too. So and then sometimes I do some Thai food and some vegetables on the wok and some fried. Yes.
Do it for a few minutes, you know.
Yeah.
A little bit of soya sauce.
Yes.
Olive oil, you know, just to make sure that it's not like too fried. You know, you just keep on like this, and basically then just add either the pasta or the rice, and maybe 10 minutes you have. 10-15 minutes, you have a meal, it's done. And you can keep on changing the vegetables, you know. I also put some tofu or seitan, and then I eat broccoli, cauliflower, mushrooms, basically everything. Just take the meat and the fish, and
you eat everything.
I eat everything, yeah.
So there is one thing that you said the first time I entered the shop here, and was something that really I retained on my mind. It was you rent some bikes. Victor rents some bikes here in the shop, very, very, very good and very low cost. So if sometimes you come to Lisbon, come here to Recicla. It's by the river. And you said to me that you rather earn €5 fixing a flat on a bike than renting a bike. It's because you really enjoy to fix the bike itself. Do you have?
That's also a question for a longer answer. Well, the reason why I said it is because when I was living in Amsterdam and at my bike shop there, I also rented bikes there. And the thing is, I had a small business. I fixed all the bikes myself. All the rental bikes were bikes that I personally repaired myself. It's not like here it was already a little bit different, but bigger companies who rent bikes, they buy like, I don't know, 100 or whatever, and then they just rent those bikes and
they have no soul.
Yeah, they treat
them. Do you think that the bikes fixed by you,
well,
they have a bit of soul,
exactly.
A bit of you.
The whole thing was I fixed all those bikes like I would fix them to sell them, and then of course, to rent the bikes I also made some extra cash. But the thing is, people who rent bikes, they don't really treat the bikes good, you know. There's a saying that I also have in my mind already for years. I saw it on a sticker somewhere, and it says something like, treat life like a rental, abuse it. And it's just the way it is, you know. People rent bikes, they don't really take good care of it, and for me it was like, man, this bike.
You care about the bikes.
I care about the
bikes.
And
you care about the people that rent your bikes.
Yeah, and here in Lisbon it's already a bit different because in Amsterdam, you know, I mean, the whole atmosphere of the city, a lot of people who go there, they just want to get wasted and they want to ride like a Dutch, and like the Dutch, and they rent the bikes, but they don't really take good care of it, you know. They just lock it anywhere, they do wheelies.
Yeah.
I mean,
they don't worry.
Yeah, here it's different. People who rent bikes here, they are more aware. They are in a way like nicer clients, but but still, for me, like I said, I mean, I prefer to make the money repairing a flat tire for someone who really uses the bike to go to work or uses the bike to do some kind of sports than to make the money to rent a bike with someone who's just renting a bike.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yes, I understand that feeling.
Think of it as you want, but this is just my
So, Victor is also it's very curious for me. I've never heard, and I wasn't even aware that it was practice here in Portugal. Victor is also a bike polo player. So it's basically polo, like in a horse, but on the top of a saddle. So, Victor, can you explain how did that come to your life, the bike polo, mainly here in Portugal, because I wasn't even aware that it was possible to play. I've seen a couple of videos on YouTube or something, but...
well, also I discovered bike polo in Holland when I was living in Amsterdam, because of the fixed gear scene. I had some clients who had fixed gear bikes. They were bike messengers, and they played bike polo. You know, the whole bike polo scene started in the fixed gear messenger scene in Seattle in the early 2000s. So it's a relatively new sport. And well, in Amsterdam, like I said, I had some clients who were bike messengers, and I think one day one guy was there and he was like, I repaired this bike and I'm going to play bike polo. You want to come? And I was like, yeah, let's just go for it. And at the time, I remember it like it was today. I went with my track bike. I had a track bike at the time, and I played with that bike. They lent me a mallet. Mallet is like the stick with a. I've got one over there. Maybe if you want to show this.
Yes, you can show. You can show.
But this.
Sorry, just Victor is going to show us the mallet that he uses to play the.
Well, actually, I don't use this one, but it is a.
It's like that.
This is a polo mallet, basically. In the beginning, they were done using ski sticks, and then this thing was done with this gas pipes. You know, you just cut it.
The ball goes here. Really, it's this size, or it's bigger?
It's a little bit bigger.
It's a bit bigger.
So basically, with bike polo, you can control the ball with all parts of the head, but you can only score by tapping like this or like that. You cannot. Shuffle
it's very complicated, the rules for the bike polo?
No, it's pretty simple. It's simple, but the thing is, when I started playing, I mean, when I went playing for that first time, when I came back to the shop, it was like, man, I gotta build a bike for this, just for this, which is actually what you need to do if you like playing, because when you build a bike for bike polo, then it's a bike specifically for that. It's got one gear only, like if you're riding always in first gear, you know, it's very light.
It has to be.
Just either front or back brake, because you use one hand to brake and the other one you control the ball. And it's, I mean, I'm gonna say it anyway. It's an amazing sport, so you guys should definitely try it.
No, it's something
bike
that
polo is amazing.
One of these days I'm going to join Victor. I'm not going to play because I'm not that handy, and I don't know
not
really.
Yet,
riding with one hand and with mallet on the other, it's an accident for sure. But I will for sure try before these guys start playing really bike polo. But we are going to tape one of these games, and we are going to talk with him more specifically about bike polo and all the other players. We are going to see. I think you guys are going to enjoy it, especially to see me fall off a bike, but mainly Victor is a guy that really enjoys the cycling and the people who ride the bikes. So Victor, I have two challenge for you. The first one is, how would you convince someone to start riding a bike? A guy that, for instance, works behind the desk and keeps bitching about his life or her life, and he's talking to you, and you think that bike riding it's good for everybody. How would you convince that guy or girl to start riding the bike?
Well, there's
it's me. Convince me to start riding the bike.
Well, I have to say.
Imagine that I work in a bank.
No, but I have to say something before that. I think one thing that's important is the thing about riding a bike. I'm not sure about what I'm about to say, but I think there's a big percentage of truth in it. It also has to come a little bit from the person itself. I think if you can use all the arguments, but really I know people who are never going to do it. They're not suited for it. They're not suited for it. You know, it's not their thing. You know, they will probably rather starve than riding a bike. I don't know. It has to be a little bit of a mental thing. It has to be already in you, the desire of change.
But imagine that I'm a guy, not like those guys. I'm a guy that I've already said to you a couple of times, oh, Victor, maybe one of these days
No, in that case
I should start
Okay,
riding.
in
So
that case, I
give
can,
me that final push that I need.
No, the final. I don't say if it's the final push or not, but this is what I think I could do to help that person. Is look, if you want to start riding, we'll do it together. So
Yes.
basically, the day that you wanna ride, I'll just go on my bike and we'll just go
That
together.
would be
you know?
my argument.
Man, that's because you can say all kinds of things, but in a way, if the person gets on the bike, and I mean, it's a little bit scary, you know, if you're gonna if you're gonna ride like in the seafront or whatever in your street, yeah, there's no problem. But if you want to go to work or if you want to actually do your life on the
Start using
bicycle,
daily or
then
more
there's too
often.
many cars, too many people, too many there's too many stuff that goes against you. So what I will do is, okay, let's go together. You go in front of me, I'll go behind. You know, I'll
You take care.
I'll be your back. I'll cover your back,
Yeah.
like you say. And I think that would be probably the best thing I could do, because in a way, you know, if you're riding and you know it, if you're going on a busy road, everybody will treat you differently if you're going by yourself or if there's two
If you
people
two
there.
or three or more.
Two or three.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
basically,
It's
that's
different. Yeah.
That's what I would do.
Yeah.
I would just go right behind him,
With
like
him or
slowly,
her, yes.
with him or her, and I don't know. Of course, as we were riding, I mean, I would give tips here and there depending on the situation. We would evaluate the situation as it happens. But I think that would probably be the best I could do. Is there's a service in Lisbon that does it. It's called bike buddy. You can be a bike buddy, and if someone wants to start to go to work, you just call those guys, and then someone
They will support, back
they will
you
su-
up
yeah,
to
they
start
will-
that
yeah, they will ride-
commuting adventure.
Exactly,
Yes.
they will ride with you, and I think that can make a very big difference. You know, maybe first, second, or third time until you feel confident enough
to go on your
on
own.
your own.
Yes,
Yeah,
and
that's what I
just
would
share
do.
it. Okay, so and this is a challenge. This is the final question for Victor. Imagine it's now. You have 1 million on your bank account. I give it to you. Okay?
Alright.
And you have your dream bike. What would you do tomorrow? No, now. You start now. You already have the million on your account. You have a dream bike. What would you do?
Well, I have to say I wouldn't need your million because I have already my dream bike.
Okay.
So
Which is? That one?
No, it's a bike hanging over there.
I don't know if you guys can see. Maybe we can just zoom in or something.
If you can, but it's a
Yes, it's a bike that it's hanging down there. It's a Pinarello.
I'm sorry to
No,
disappoint you. It's not the
It's not the
Pinarello. It's
Pinarello. I'm so
hanging-
disappointed because I really enjoyed that bike. So.
No, it's hanging, but it's not the Pinarello. It sits a little bit above there, and it's a Sinelli Super Corsa.
So
pista model.
now we have to go and take a look. So let's
Vais lá tu?
yeah. So this is Victor's shop, and for the record, this is the Pinarello that I was mentioning. This Pinarello is
And it's not this one.
yeah, it's great. It's it's my dream.
It's that one over there.
So that's the one. Can you explain that?
Yeah, basically since the whole just look at it. It's
Yeah.
that bike over there. Well, since the whole fixed gear scene appeared to me, basically what happened was that I saw so many bikes online, and one time I saw a bike just like that in light blue. I really liked it, and I thought to myself, man, this is the bike that I want to have. Later in life, I definitely want to have a bike like this. Well, it wasn't cheap, but I got it. It's not the same bike as I saw, but it's my size. I never rode it. It's a little bit embarrassing to say, but it's the truth. I never rode that bike. I bought it and I never rode it. But yeah,
When are you going to start riding that bike?
I don't know. It's for me. It's the kind of thing that it can be a little bit embarrassing to say, but it's the truth. You know, it's a bike from the 70s. There are not many of those around, and the truth is, I mean, if something happens, I'm going to be pretty pissed if that bike gets fucked. So I really like to see it there. Eventually, I will ride it, put some pedals on, and go for like a 10 kilometer ride.
It's more or less like a Ferrari for those guys that
Man, more or
just
less.
ride for on Sunday morning.
Something
they-
like that, yeah. But that Sunday it didn't arrive yet, but it will.
It will.
But to answer your question, basically what I would do, and if I didn't really think too much about the value of the bike, I would probably put it on a car, go to Sangalhos.
Sangalhos? No, I don't know. Yes,
yeah,
it's up
Sangalhos.
north?
It's up north. It's
Yes.
it's where there's a track.
Oh yes, I know. Yes,
a
where
wooden
those guys
track.
are,
You know,
yeah.
So basically, I would ride this bike there.
There,
Yeah,
okay.
that would be a little bit of a dream come true, you know, to ride my favorite track bike on a proper track.
Okay, so I just saved 1 million because Vitor doesn't need it.
Yeah, I've got the
and
bike
he
already.
already has that dream bike of his, and so this is it. Just keep riding and keep smiling.